Nobody tells you that Vietnam's best spots aren't on the tourist maps anymore. I spent 3 months here figuring out what actually works in 2026. Places like Ninh Binh's Trang and cost $4 to get in, but you'll skip the crowds if you show up at 6 a.m. But here's the thing, booking sites are flooded with fakes right now. So only use the official Vietnam Airlines portal or www.travelexpedi.com. The scams are real, the street food is insane, and if you time it right, you'll have entire beaches to yourself. What's covered? Hanoi Old Quarter, Halong Bay, Hoi An Ancient Town, Ho Chi Minh City, Sapa, Ninh Binh Pho, Banh Mi, Bun Cha, Cao Lau, Egg Coffee, Com Tom, how to cross the street in Vietnam, taxi scams, bargaining tips, best time to visit, SIM cards, transport hacks, off the beaten path spots most tourists miss. If this video helped you plan your Vietnam trip, drop a comment below with your top pick, hit like, and subscribe for more travel guides. Vietnam is one of the cheapest, most beautiful, and most underrated countries in the world to travel. But it's also one of the easiest places to get scammed, overpay, or miss the best spots completely. I'm going to show you the top places to visit, the food you cannot leave without trying, and the tricks that will save you hundreds of dollars. Stick around till the end because tip number is the one most tourists never find out about. Let's go. Let's start with where to actually go. 1. Hanoi Old Quarter, chaotic streets, French colonial architecture, egg coffee, and the famous train street. 2. Halong Bay limestone karst rising out of emerald water, best experienced on an overnight boat cruise. 3. Hoi An Ancient Town, lantern-lit streets, tailor shops, and the Japanese covered bridge, most magical at night. 4. Ho Chi Minh City, Saigon, Ben Thanh Market, the War Remnants Museum, and rooftop bars with skyline views. 5. Sapa rice terraces and trekking through ethnic minority villages in the northern mountains. 6. Ninh Binh, often called Halong Bay on land, boat through caves surrounded by dramatic limestone cliffs. Hanoi Old Quarter overview. The Old Quarter is Hanoi's historic commercial heart, a maze of 36 narrow streets, each traditionally named after the guild that once sold a specific good there. Silk Street, Silver Street, Paper Street, etc. It's dense, loud, and visually chaotic in the best way. Motorbikes weaving through pedestrians, tangled overhead wires, street vendors balancing baskets on shoulder poles, and colonial-era shophouses squeezed between newer buildings. French colonial architecture layered into the chaos are remnants of France's colonial period, 1887-1954. Yellow-painted facades, shuttered windows, wrought iron balconies, and landmark buildings like the Hanoi Opera House and St. Joseph's Cathedral, a near replica of Notre Dame. This mix of colonial elegance and street-level bustle is one of the most photogenic contrasts in the video. Egg coffee, Café Trung, invented in Hanoi in the 1940s at Café Giang during a milk shortage, whipped egg yolk, sugar, and condensed milk poured over strong Vietnamese Robusta coffee, tasting almost like a warm tiramisu. Café Giang, now run by the founder's descendants, and Café Din are the two most iconic spots to feature on camera. The street has never been permanently shut down, but access has shifted between open and restricted multiple times. And as of April 2026, it remains open to independent visitors with restrictions that vary by section. Rev-A-Trip. In March 2025, Hanoi's tourism department banned organized group tours from the street. So as of 2026, it's accessible only through individual visits arranged via the cafes along the tracks. Vietnam Tour.in, the most Instagram-famous stretch, the lantern line section with narrow cafes, is legally restricted, with police posts and metal barriers at the main entrances near Tran Phu and Pung Hung. A separate, less touristy section between other cross streets remains unguarded and walkable without an escort, offering a more raw, local feel. The safest way in is through one of the cafes that holds official permission to host visitors, since access rules can change quickly. Halong Bay is a UNESCO World Heritage Site in northern Vietnam, famous for nearly 2,000 limestone karst islands and pillars rising dramatically out of jade green water. The formations were shaped over millions of years by erosion, and many contain caves you can explore by boat or on foot. Sangsat, Cave Surprise Cave, is the most visited. Why an overnight cruise beats a day trip. Day trips from Hanoi involve about a 3 to 4 hour drive each way, leaving only a few rushed hours on the water. An overnight cruise lets you watch sunset and sunrise over the karst from the deck. You can swim at spots like Tai Top Island. Kayaking through hidden lagoons reveals narrow channels and dramatic cliffs up close. You can enjoy a quieter bay once day trippers have left. Most cruises depart from Halong City or nearby Lana Bay, Cat Ba Island. The latter is quickly becoming the preferred alternative since it's less crowded than the main bay. Safety context worth mentioning in 2026. Worth noting for your script since it's a real shift viewers may have heard about. In July 2025, a tour boat capsized in a sudden storm on Halong Bay, and the tragedy prompted stronger oversight of the industry. All tourist boats are now subject to licensing, safety inspections, and route permission from local maritime authorities, and must carry life jackets, fire safety equipment, and communication systems, with restrictions on overnight anchoring zones and passenger numbers. Larger overnight cruise ships are generally considered safer than smaller day tour boats, since they have more stability, better communication equipment, and more experienced crews. Practical tips to fold into the script. Some cruise operators now ban single-use plastic bottles on board and require your original physical passport at check-in. Digital copies aren't accepted by port authorities. Best, Halong cruise weather can force cancellations. If a cruise is called off before you leave Hanoi, you typically get a full refund. Best price travel. Best time to cruise is October to April, when conditions are cooler, drier, and calmer. Halong Bay is stunning, but after a serious accident in 2025, safety rules got a lot stricter. Book a licensed operator, bring your real passport, and always sit through the safety briefing. It's 5 minutes that actually matters. Hoi An was one of the Southeast Asia's major trading ports from the 15th to 19th centuries, and it's remarkably intact. The protected old town covers about 30 hectares and contains over 1,100 listed heritage structures, including Chinese assembly halls, merchant houses, family chapels, and the famous Japanese covered bridge, most still owned by descendants of the original families. It became a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1999. Japanese covered bridge, Chua Kao, built by Japanese merchants over 400 years ago to connect their community with the neighboring Chinese quarter. This small arched bridge with a tiled roof and a tiny temple inside is Hoi An's most photographed landmark. It's even printed on the 20,000 VND banknote. The bridge underwent a major restoration completed in August 2024, backed by Japanese heritage experts and a roughly 20.2 billion VND investment, and reopened in time for the Hoi An Japan Cultural Exchange Festival. So it's looking as sharp as ever going into 2026. Tickets. Worth mentioning since it trips people up. The Old Town entrance ticket costs 120,000 VND, about $5, for foreign visitors as of early 2026. It covers entry to 5 heritage sites of your choice: the bridge, an ancient merchant house, an assembly hall, a museum, etc. Technically, you need the ticket to enter the 22 designated heritage attractions, not the town itself, so you can wander the streets freely without one. But you'll be asked for it at any specific site. The lantern magic at night. Every evening, the town switches off most electric lights in the old quarter, and hundreds of silk lanterns take over. Reds, golds, blues reflecting off the Thu Bon River. Small boats with candlelit paper lanterns drift the river, often paddled by locals who'll sell you one to float and make a wish. On the 14th day of each lunar month, Hoi An holds a full lantern festival, where the whole town goes electricity free. Worth flagging as a bonus tip if your filming dates line up, Hoi An by day is charming. Hoi An by night is something else. Once the sun goes down, the town cuts the electric lights, the lanterns take over, and the whole place turns into something out of a fairy tale. Here's an update. Good news: Ben Thanh Market is fully open and looking better than ever. The market and the surrounding downtown area completed a major makeover ahead of Lunar New Year 2026, with the renovated Ben Thanh Market area, Turtle Lake, and the former Phan Dinh Pung Stadium site inspected by city officials in early February 2026. This building just hit 110 years old, and instead of looking tired, it just got a full glow up. New paint on the facade, the roof completely redone, sidewalks and greenery upgraded. They managed to keep that historic charm, but gave it just enough modern touch to make it feel alive again. But here's the real upgrade. Metro Line 1 now connects directly with a station right across from the clock tower. Here's the fuller Ho Chi Minh City section. Ben Thon Market, built in 1914, this covered market is Saigon's most iconic shopping landmark. Clothing, souvenirs, spices, lacquerware, and a food court all under one roof. It's open daily from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., then transforms into the Ben Thon Night Market from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. with expanded street food stalls and evening entertainment. Entry itself is free. Bargaining is expected. Vendors here, quote, inflated prices for tourists. War Remnants Museum. A sobering but essential stop. Exhibits on the Vietnam War told largely from the Vietnamese perspective, including preserved military vehicles, photography exhibits, and displays on the effects of Agent Orange. Not for the faint of heart, but one of the most visited museums in the country and worth a dedicated few minutes in your video with a respectful tone. Reunification Palace, former South Vietnamese presidential palace, preserved almost exactly as it was on April 30th, 1975, when a tank crashed through its gates ending the war. Notre Dame Cathedral and Central Post Office. French colonial landmarks right next to each other, both near Ben Thanh. The cathedral is currently under long-term restoration, so exterior shots work better than interior right now. Rooftop bars. Saigon's skyline is best seen from above. Byte Exco Financial Tower's Saigon Skydeck and rooftop bars like Chill Sky Bar give sweeping views over the Saigon River, especially at sunset. Ben Thon Market just got a facelift, new metro access, a refreshed facade, and it's still the beating heart of Saigon shopping. Go in the morning to shop, come back at night for the street food and lights. Sapa is a mountain town in Vietnam's far north, known for terraced rice fields carved into the hillsides by ethnic minority communities like the Hmong and Dao, and misty views over the Muang Hoa Valley. Phan Xipon, Roof of Indochina. At 3,143 m, Phan Xipon is the highest peak in Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia combined. 2 ways up, cable car, a 15-minute ride that covers what used to take 2 days of hiking, gliding over terraced rice paddies into dense forest with a mountain train connecting Sapa town to the cable car base station along the way. The standard adult round-trip fare runs around $33. Trekking, the traditional route usually starts at Tram Ton Pass and takes 1 to 2 days depending on pace and route, with steep sections, muddy trails, and bamboo forest, a much more physical journey than the cable car. Hikers generally need route registration, which guided tours typically handle for you. Best time to visit, September to November, is rice harvest season, when the terraced fields glow gold. But it's also peak tourist season. March-April brings mild weather, rhododendron blooms, and drier trails. June-August means heavy monsoon rain and foggy views. Ninh Binh, often nicknamed Halong Bay on land. Ninh Binh is home to dramatic limestone karsts rising out of rice paddies and rivers rather than the sea, and it's a much easier day trip from Hanoi than Halong Bay. Trang An Boat Tour, the must-do. Trang An is a 6,226-hectare UNESCO World Heritage landscape, combining limestone karsts, submerged caves, and ancient temples, located about 90 kilometers south of Hanoi. The tour is a 3.5-hour sampan ride through multiple caves and grottos, stopping at ancient temples along the way. Going deeper into caves and mountains and the more open scenery at Tam Kok, 2026 ticket price is 250,000 VND, about $10 per person, with each boat holding up to 4 passengers plus the rower. Jungle Boss Tours. A new digital queuing system introduced in 2025 has cut wait times by roughly 40% compared to previous years. Tickets are sold daily, 7 a.m., 5 p.m., no advance booking required. You show up, buy, and get assigned a boat. Arrive early anyway, it still gets busy. Tam Kok means 3 caves. A similar rowboat experience through caves formed by the Ngo Dong River. Tickets around 200,000 VND, $8.80 per person, boats holding up to 4. Tam Kok leans more toward open rice paddy scenery, while Trang An leans more into caves and temples. Good to frame them as 2 different flavors of the same idea in your script rather than duplicate content. People call it Halong Bay on land for a reason. Except here, you're not on a cruise ship, you're in a tiny wooden rowboat, ducking your head as the boatman rows you straight through a mountain. I ate my way through Vietnam for 2 weeks, and I don't think I spent more than $2 on a single meal. Banh Mi from a street cart? $1.50. A full bowl of pho that I couldn't even finish? $2. Vietnam's food scene isn't just cheap, it's legitimately world class. Pho. The iconic beef or chicken noodle soup simmered for hours with star anise, cinnamon, and charred ginger. Locals eat it for breakfast. The best bowls are often from a single street vendor who's made nothing else for 30 plus years. Banh mi, a relic of French colonization, a crispy, airy baguette, lighter than a French one adapted for the tropical climate. Stuffed with pate, cold cuts, pickled carrot and daikon, cilantro, and chili. Costs about $1. Bun Cha grilled pork patties and pork belly served in a bowl of sweet savory dipping broth with herbs and rice noodles on the side. Hanoi's signature dish, made globally famous after Anthony Bourdain ate it with Barack Obama in 2016. Egg coffee. Ca Pei Trung, whipped egg yolk, sugar, and condensed milk poured over strong, Robusta coffee. Invented at Cafe Jiang in Hanoi during a 1940s milk shortage. Tastes like drinkable tiramisu. Cao Lau, a Hoi An exclusive noodle dish. Legend says the noodles must be made with water from a specific ancient well in town, giving them their distinct, chewy texture. Com tam, broken rice. Saigon's everyday staple. Grilled pork chop, a fried egg, pickled veggies, and fish sauce over rice made from broken grains. Originally a byproduct dish for the poor, now a citywide favorite. The best meal you'll have in Vietnam won't be in a restaurant. It'll be on a plastic stool on a sidewalk for under $2. Grab app, Vietnam's Uber equivalent for bikes, cars, and food delivery, avoids taxi meter scams entirely and shows the price up front. Bargain at markets. Start at 40 to 50% of the quoted price, especially at Ben Thanh in Saigon or Dong Xuan in Hanoi. SIM card, eSIM, buy a Vietel or Mobifone SIM at the airport, or grab an eSIM before you land. Cheap data makes Grab and Google Maps painless. Crossing the street. Walk slow and steady, never stop, never run. The motorbikes flow around you like water around a rock. Carry small bills. Vendors conveniently lack change for big notes. A soft scam worth avoiding. Overnight trains or buses covers long distances while saving a night of accommodation cost. Phong Nha, Bang National Park, home to Son Doong, the world's largest cave. For casual visitors, Phong Nha Cave itself is an easy win. A 25-30-minute boat glide into the cave costs around 150,000 VND entry, plus roughly 550,000 VND per boat, split among your group. For the hardcore version, a full Son Doong expedition runs about $3,000 per person for 4-5 days, operated exclusively by licensed company Oxalis Adventure. And with only about 1,000 permits issued a year, you need to book 6-12 plus months ahead. Mukang Chai rice terrace is even more dramatic than Sapa's, with a fraction of the tourists. Best in late September, early October during harvest, when the whole valley turns gold. Con Dao Islands, pristine, still largely undiscovered beaches and sea turtle nesting grounds, the anti-Halong Bay for travelers wanting solitude. Da Lat, Vietnam's cool climate, Little Paris in the Central Highlands, flower gardens, canyoning, and French villas, a total change of pace from the coastal heat. Most tourists never make it past Hanoi and Saigon, but the real Vietnam, the one locals brag about, is in places like these. That's my complete guide to Vietnam. The places, the food, and the tricks that will make your trip smoother and cheaper than 90% of travelers who go in unprepared. If this helped you plan your trip, smash that like button, subscribe for more travel guides, and let me know in the comments which spot from this video is going on your bucket list. See you in the next one.